From the Payne Whitney Psychiatric Clinic, beside the East River on the Upper East Side of Manhattan, it's 7.5 blocks east to Central Park, which today is where I'm headed. I put on my yellow coat, walk south a block, and turn onto 67th Street so I can stop by the 67th Street branch of the New York Public Library. I'll turn in my books, go to the park, then get some more on the way back. Where 67th hits Fifth Avenue, there's a memorial to the 107th New York Infantry Regiment. During the Great War, World War I, they fought in France. Of the 3,700 men originally in the regiment, 580 were killed, and 1,487 were wounded. 4 of them were awarded the Medal of Honor. From there I turn up Fifth Avenue and head into the park. It's 7 short blocks north. Just a block below the Alice in Wonderland sculpture and beside the conservatory pond where they sail model boats, there's this statue of Hans Christian Andersen reading to a duck. This is my place. Sitting beside Hans Christian Andersen, I look out on the pond, out on the water and all the model boats that seem a mile off sometimes when it's early and there's a mist over the water. I look out on the pond as the sun glints off the water, as the boats glide through the water. Christian Andersen and his duck. I wonder how many of the men of the 107th in their trenches over there in France, how many of them, while they waited, remembered his stories, remembered their mothers as they read to them. The Little Mermaid, The Emperor's New Clothes, The Princess and the Pea, The Ugly Duckling. Standing in a trench during the Great War, standing there, remembering your mother reading you The Emperor's New Clothes. No, that's just me being sentimental and ironic and symbolic. They were probably thinking about French whores. No, that's just me thinking about French whores. Though, since they're all dead, who's to say different? Such a beautiful day, such a beautiful park, as the sun glints off the water, as the boats glide through the water. But I'm thinking about the men of the 107th, their dead bodies strewn across the fields of France, and French whores. But just in time, Hans and his duck save me. They snatch me from the dead of the 107th. They return me to my rightful place, on a bench near Hans and his duck. I'm watching this woman in a red coat feed popcorn to the pigeons. I have my bench, Hans has his duck, she has her pigeons. She's this Monet painting. A woman in a red coat feeding popcorn to pigeons in Central Park. New York City, Central Park, pigeons. Here, at least, the world makes sense. Then the woman in the red coat gets up, walks over, hands me the half-full bag of popcorn, and walks off. So here I am in my own Monet. A man in a yellow coat feeding popcorn to pigeons in Central Park. After a while I get up, walk over to this woman in a green coat, writing in her journal. She's been watching me. I hand her the popcorn. She tears a page out of her journal, folds it, and hands it to me. As I walk south, I look back at the painting. A woman in a green coat feeding popcorn to pigeons in Central Park. I continue to walk south. I think of the men of the 107th New York Infantry Regiment. I think of the books I'm planning to get at the 67th Street branch of the New York Public Library. I think of the Payne Whitney Psychiatric Clinic sitting beside the East River. And I think of popcorn, and pigeons, and kids, and tiny sailing boats, and Hans, and his duck, and French whores. As I continue to walk south, I unfold the page the woman in the green coat gave me, and I read it. It's this poem, word for word, except for the French whores. I fold the page, I trip over a curb, and then I see him. A man in a blue coat. I hand him this poem, still lacking French whores, and as I continue to walk south, I look back at him. It won't be long now. A man in a blue coat feeding popcorn to pigeons in Central Park. Red, yellow, green, blue. Here, at least, the world makes sense.